Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. My voice sounds a little
But you're good otherwise.
Yeah, I think so. But we did have a good weekend last weekend. We had the Club 32 meetup, so that was a lot of fun, getting to see everybody. And Disney and Universal were both slammed. And the sad thing is, and we've talked about this before, January and February just are not slow times anymore.
Nope.
I mean, at either park, really. There was dance competitions, conventions. You had the Pro Bowl in Orlando. Like, it was very, very busy.
Mm-hmm. And over at Universal, too, they have that. And then I think, was it MegaCon?
MegaCon's this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's coming, so that's going to be even busier then. There's more competitions coming in. It's Super Bowl. Like, it's a lot going on. It's just the whole January and February. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I miss when it used to just be super dead.
I do, too, because really the slow time now is kind of the summer.
For real. Like
when
summer,
it's super hot outside.
September. Yeah, when it's hot, people are just like, I'm not going.
Yeah, I'd still say probably the best in terms of crowds is probably September. Just because kids go back to school, people don't travel as much then.
Yeah, I like going then.
I mean, it can still be very hot, but those are kind of the pockets now. But yeah. But had a good meetup weekend, and on that, which we'll talk about, we've got some news to go over, including the Disney earnings call. But we also did a Magic Kingdom fireworks cruise, so we'll talk about that. I had never done a fireworks cruise.
Yeah, it was fun. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, on a boat. But before we do that, I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're not watching on YouTube and you'd like to, you can watch us over at CTM Podcast over on YouTube. And we have video versions of the show over there and show clips. So if you'd rather watch us versus listen or do both, you can do it over there on YouTube. And then, of course, if you're listening on good old trusty audio podcast forum that has been around for as long as, I don't know.
70 million years.
Yes, since the dinosaurs, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they were listening to podcasts back then. You can subscribe on all the major platforms. We are on there. Just ask you to please subscribe and leave us a review, as we'd greatly appreciate that. Helps us continue to grow the show. And, of course, if you're looking for some great apparel, theme park stuff, or just to wear around the house, around the town, even a night on the town, they're fancy shirts, they can be. You can go check out Capture the Magic Apparel. And we make everything in-house, printed by myself, shipped by Jamie. So we touch it on every, it's touched by us, loved by us as it goes out the door. On very comfortable shirts, we do comfort colors, next level, hoodies, sweatshirts, whatever you would like, we print them on those. And we have some new designs up in the shop. And you can still get 20% off of your order. It's not New Year anymore with the promo code. We're going to go with Valentine's Day. So as a lovely listener, you can get 20% off still by using the code Valentine's Day. Plus, if you order $50 or more, you get free shipping on top of that. So you can get yourself some new shirts and at a good price.
Yeah.
And we'll ship them out to you. So either way, go to ctmapparelco.com and use the promo code Valentine's Day and get yourself 20% off. Get yourself some great shirts over there at Capture the Magic Apparel. So, all right, let's get into the news. So the first story we have is the 2025 quarter one earnings call from Disney was yesterday morning, technically today.
But
we're talking about it for you guys because you'll hear this tomorrow.
Guys, you're listening to us in the past.
This is true. This is very true.
Crazy.
So as of recording this, it was today, but for you, it will be yesterday. And here are some takeaways.
All right, I'll talk about them, and then Jared, you can elaborate more because you know more about this business stuff than I do.
Got it.
Disney Parks revenue was up 3%, but down 5% in operating income. And the reason they gave for that was that it was because of the hurricanes. There was one day where the parks were closed, and it was just kind of like a weird time. But it cost them about $120 million. And the launch of the Disney Treasure and the marketing for that and all that stuff cost about $75 million on top of that. So that's where they're showing why the operating income is lower. So what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I saw where they said that. I don't know how much. That seems like a high amount for one day being closed, but potentially it could be. I mean,
I believe that number for sure, but does it account for 5%?
That's the part I don't know.
You know what I mean?
That
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good way to blame it on that if you wanted to, maybe. But I don't know how much they earn any given day, like stuff like that. So it's, it's possible. But they did have the hurricane to deal. And you also could have had people, canceling trips and postponing trips and things like that. So it could be some of that as well.
They also said that domestic attendance for the quarter was down 2%. Hotel occupancy was flat, so no rising, no lowering. Per guest spending was up 4%, and Disney is still forecasting 6% to 8% operating income growth for the experiences portion of the fiscal year. Even though they're talking all about this, they're projecting that will be about that. When asked about the effect of the opening of Epic Universe coming, and apparently this analyst that asked the question gets this question a lot to him, like to ask, during these earnings calls, CFO Hugh Johnston said that Disney, quote, anticipates some small impact.
I'd like to know what they mean by small.
Well, they did say that they still forecast that operating income growth 68%, even with having impacted from Epic Universe. So
but they're not consistent on the language of use. So months ago, they said they anticipate that Epic Universe was going to help them.
Right.
So now they're saying they anticipate a small impact.
Yep.
I personally, I've said this the whole time. I don't think they know. I don't think anybody knows what the impact of Epic Universe is going to be. Outside, obviously, it's going to be impactful for Universal. Mm-hmm. They're going to see a massive bump in their attendance and obviously a brand new park opening, things like that. I don't think anybody knows, is there a spillover effect to, say, Disney World, SeaWorld, like the other local parks? Is there going to be a spillover? That's something that I think Disney, obviously, they're not going to come out and say, oh, man, it's going to be bad. Even if it was going to be bad, I'm not saying it is, because I don't know either. They're not going to come out and say that. They're obviously going to come out and say, we're going to have growth, and obviously them saying 6 to 8% growth. I feel that's pretty aggressive to say that when you even look at when Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade opened up. I mean, they did those first years that Universal had those openings. They would see like either flat or like 2% down, 2% up. So 8 to 9% or 6 to 8% is pretty high. I was kind of surprised to hear them say that.
Growth, yeah.
But they're not going, but they're also just not going to, if they signal in these meetings that they were anticipating that Epic Universe was going to negatively impact them, especially, it's one thing to say it may negatively impact you months ago, but to say it now, I think would be it would have a much more effect on the stock price if they were to signal it now, because it's so close to opening. I mean, we're, as of today, that I think not maybe annual pass holder, but previews on some level are going to start with Epic Universe very soon. So the park is just about wrapped up, ready to open in May. I mean, I think they're hoping, but if they don't see, I do think that their discounts they're running through the rest of the year are signaling that they are obviously trying to, lure people over on pricing and things like that. But I'm skeptical. I'll just say that the 6 to 8% growth. I'll just say that. That's a pretty high number, especially whenever they say anticipate a small impact. I would like to know what a small impact is to then also say you're going to have 6 to 8% growth.
Right.
Like that seems very contradictory to say, on one hand, say you're going to have a small impact. On the other hand, you're going to see almost 10% growth.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Do you happen to remember was it Islands of Adventure? Was that the last park that opened in the Orlando area?
I believe.
Like major?
Yeah, I believe it was Animal Kingdom and then Islands of Adventure opened.
Okay.
I believe.
So I'm trying to think of how it was. It's been so long and I was just a kid, but we went the month it opened and it was soft opening. So it wasn't very busy, but I don't recall like how it was, getting into the parks and everything and how it affected anything else. But I do remember the crowds when Wizard World of Harry Potter opened.
Yeah.
And that was very, very exciting and people are excited for that. So there's just this hasn't been something on this scale before, I don't think.
Right.
So it's really hard to predict, but I will be interested. I'll be interested.
I'm very interested because I mean, you can look at the other, Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley opening, but again, those were singular lands. And at the same time, those lands didn't change really how people visited Universal because still, until Epic Universe opens, you could do most things at Universal in 1 to 2 days. Right.
But my point was being there's even more Harry Potter and you have Super Nintendo World.
Don't undersell Nintendo.
I'm not underselling.
I know.
I'm telling you.
I think some people do in general, but Nintendo is massive.
Huge.
So
it's huge.
Yeah. I'm very, very curious. And like I said, I'm not making a prediction. I'm more or less I'm kind of looking at it like the things that they have said in the past about it.
Yeah.
And I honestly just don't think that they know.
Yeah.
I mean, they may look at bookings on some level and see what it's looking like and things of that nature. But I am very curious as to, is there a spillover effect? I mean, I know the local Orlando economy is definitely like, right near Epic Universe. They're all very much anticipating like hotels and things.
Oh, for sure.
But it just, does it translate to other places? That'll be the big question, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the next story, which is we have an official closing date for It's Tough to Be a Bug in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, so the last showings will be on March 16th. It'll officially be closed on March 17th, which isn't that St. Patrick's Day?
Is it?
Isn't the 17th St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, it is.
I don't know.
Well, interesting. But anyway, Zootopia.
Yeah, 17th is St. Patrick's Day.
So Zootopia Better Together show will be opening this winter. And if you remember, maybe a couple episodes ago, we talked about what winter 2025 meant. We're like, it's not this coming winter. It's not like this current winter we're in. They're talking about the next winter.
Right.
But even that, it's like, that's 7 days, 8 days left in 2025. So I think that really they either mean late fall or early 2026. That's my guesstimate.
Yeah.
I think it'll be early 2026.
I could see that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all for that one. Just, I'm not sad to see this show go. I know a lot of people like it and a lot of people don't like it. Our kids don't like it at all.
I don't care for it. I've never been, I don't need to feel bugs crawling on me personally.
Right. I don't, I've seen the movie maybe twice in my entire life and like, it's fine. But like, I don't know. I just don't resonate with the show that much. And I don't like my butt getting stinged.
No,
I don't like that at
nor
all.
does many people.
Nobody likes that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Zootopia fits in. I mean, as of, using
Yeah.
IPs in the park, Zootopia obviously does fit. So.
Yes. Much,
I just
much
don't know
better.
if Zootopia is it like a, I mean, I think it's more relevant than Tough to Be a Bug.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Zootopia has a huge following. I don't know. It's done okay in the box office. I think it did really well over in China.
It did really well overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
we'll
always-
see how it does.
Yeah, it's always interesting how like you look at like Fast and Furious franchise, it makes most of its money overseas.
Yeah.
It's not really an American IP as much as it just is like Japan in like Asia.
It's crazy.
But,
yeah.
Well, if you want to go do Tough to Be a Bug, you better do it by March 16th.
Mm-hmm.
That's your last day to do it.
Yes.
And then St. Patrick's Day is celebrated by closing it down, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's a win or not for St. Patrick's or not. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right, next story we have is, it's so sad. Jelly Roll's Dueling Piano Bar is closing on the Boardwalk. This was a rumor out there for a while. Nothing was officially confirmed, and now seems to be confirmed.
Yeah. So it said on a post in Instagram, it said, after nearly 30 years on Disney's Boardwalk, Jelly Rolls is making a move. Come celebrate with us into the spring season and keep your eyes on our social media for exciting new updates. This was a rumor for a little bit that they would be closing. Now, it doesn't sound like they're closing. It sounds like they're just going to move to a different location.
Yes.
I think their lease is up at the Boardwalk and they're just like,
well,
okay,
I've
ready
also
to go.
heard Disney is kind of upping the rent on some of these spots that
Shocker.
third-party businesses are using.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, we talked about, I think we did Jelly Rolls like a year ago. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking how much was the cover charge?
It's $22.
$22.
$22. Yep.
That's rather wild. Now, I'm not a
Yeah.
big, I don't go do these things a lot. I don't know if that's normal. To me, that was pretty wild pricing for the both of us to get. It was almost $50 just to get in the door. It's a fun place. I mean, it's a good time, but at the same time, it's not necessarily the cheapest. And I feel like the cover charge is a little cumbersome to people trying it out, perhaps, of going in, because it's not like you get drinks incled on that. You still got to,
Right.
you're going to get drinks. You got to
But that place is packed.
It is
every night. So yeah, they do need a cover charge.
I will say that, well, I think places on property for adults to do has been shrinking over the years in terms of like bars and things like that. But yeah, it seems like they'll probably move it somewhere else. So I have no clue on what will replace it or if anything will replace it. I'm sure at some point something will, but
Oh yeah.
I guess this is good for the Atlantic Dance Hall.
Yeah. I mean, that's not, it's a different vibe over there, but
It's a little more retro vibe in there.
yeah, it's a little more my millennial-esque. like
If you've never been in there, they
not
basically play
so Gen Z.
mid 2000s music videos on a giant screen. So
if you got the young Gen Xers, millennials, old Gen Zers. That's where we're at. It's right there.
So yeah, you're going to go to Jelly Rolls. They didn't give it an exact date, but it looks like it'll be moving in the spring. Sometime.
Yeah, maybe early summer. We'll see.
So, all right. And the last news story we have is we finally know what the building used for the former Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser will be. And it's going to be office space for Imagineering. I don't think this is what most people perhaps thought. Now, I had said all along, if you recall, in multiple episodes.
You did. You said it a lot.
They took a tax break on this when they closed it down. One reason they closed down the Star Cruiser, it technically was open longer than a year, but they announced it closing within a year of opening. And one of the reasons was they were going to take a tax break on it. I forget how much they got, but by closing it down,
350 million.
I have no clue in the price.
Like
but I was like, well, and Diamaro had teased before, be on the lookout. Something is happening with this thing. Like essentially sort of like acting as if something was going to happen here and get people hyped up for it. But at the same time, I even said to do anything with it outside of, I think they could have used it for storage, which is what a big rumor I'd heard, or obviously office space. But outside of like an actual attraction, you'd have to pay back that tax break that you got.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's probably a pretty economical use of the building space because considering those hotel rooms can be converted into offices.
Very small offices.
Very small. I will say it's got to be a little ominous to if you're an Imagineer working in a building that is probably the biggest flop, at least in the recent history of Disney. You're in the building in which was deemed a failure, which it. I mean, I know some people are saying it wasn't. Like it clearly was. I mean, the idea was cool, but obviously the price point was astronomical for it, and I think the repeatability of it was even and I think the repeatability of it was questionable. Now, in its defense, everybody I talked to that did it loved it. Mm-hmm. Now, we never did it, and a lot of people did like it, but I always felt at the price point it was at, given it was a sequel trilogy only, you very much were limited to a very small group of people that were going to do this.
It was too, I guess, too niche down, too. It was like the price and just the fact that, like, just basically what you said.
Yeah, the price, and not only that, it's like you're essentially LARPing for not even 2 full days, was it?
It was, you get there at like 1, and then have the whole day the next day, and then you're done by that next morning. So
roughly 2 days-ish.
Yeah.
You're doing that. It's not like it was a relaxing thing. You had to be really, really into the story. And I just felt like it was very like niche in terms of the people that would do it. But I did think the idea was interesting. You could use this idea on some level for other things, but I think more than likely this idea and taking risk on it is probably dead because of, I think it could have worked on some level. Like you could do like a princess thing or something like that I think would be a hit. But I would imagine that Disney's not going to take a risk on this idea going forward.
I think also too, not to go too much into this, but they did open shortly after all the pandemic stuff. So I think part of the timing was bad too, because it was like, some people aren't doing so hot financially, and some people that maybe would have paid to do the Star Cruiser before, maybe were like, I can't do it now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, on some level,
economy-wise, they just didn't.
It's the same gripe I have with Galaxy's Edge being it's only the sequel trilogy. I think if you open that up to all of the eras of Star Wars, prequel, original trilogy, sequel trilogy, same thing with this. If you would have had a story that maybe it rotated or it included other things, you would have opened it up to a larger group of people that would have wanted to do it, even at the price point it was at. I just think it was not only the pricing, but just the fact that it takes place only in the sequel trilogy was very much like you had to be really into the sequel trilogy to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And if you look at it compared to the prequels and the original trilogy, that fan base isn't nearly as big as those. So I think that was another thing with that. But
yeah,
I still think the idea of a Star Wars hotel would be cool if it was just a regular hotel that was themed after Star Wars.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to do the LARPing aspect to it. I think that would be something you could do, but
let's get it going.
Yeah, they're probably not going to do that would be my guess. But
right.
Yeah, that is going to be office space for Imagineering. No clue as to when they're going to move in or anything like that. So technically, the sign. What's funny, we were driving around over the weekend. The Galaxy's Edge, or not? Excuse me. The Galactic Star Cruiser signs are still up.
On the
roads.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
could still drive. I don't know if they have a blocked off or not. I guess you could still technically drive up to the building, maybe.
I mean, that's where cast members go back there now. So maybe I don't.
I don't know. The signage is still there. I'm
Yeah,
sure
they
at
are.
some point they're going to have to get rid of the signage there.
Yeah.
But either way. But yep, that's all the news that we have for today.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about our experience on the private fireworks cruise for Magic Kingdom.
Okay, so we did this last Saturday, and we did it with some of the members of Club 32, so that was really fun. But this is what they say on the website, just to kind of give you an idea. So it's fun for all ages. Nighttime cruises provide the perfect opportunity to see the brilliant Happily Ever After fireworks from an amazing vantage point, your own chartered boat. Relax in comfort as your party embarks on the waters of Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake near Magic Kingdom Park with synchronized audio on board to fully immerse you in the magic.
Yes.
That's basically what it is.
It's not like a pontoon boat you go on. I think it up to
yeah, it's pontoon.
Up to 10 people.
Max of 10 people can be on it. Yep.
So 10 people, the price for the whole party is $450. Then obviously
plus tax.
Plus tax. You can split that up amongst people, which is what we did. So we actually had 2 boats with our group, so they got split up that way. Each cruise comes with a cast member captain, assorted snacks and drinks, and towels.
There were towels.
And the snacks were cookies, gummy bears, chips, things like that. And the drinks were like Diet Coke, Sprite, Coke, water, stuff like that. And you can take it all. Like if you don't drink it all or eat it all on the boat, it's yours to take with you.
Yep.
So you can come away with some snacks there. And before they go to the fireworks cruise, they do take a tour around Bay Lake and Seven Seas Lagoon, pointing out some things. That part was kind of interesting, pointing out some things. You went by Discovery Island.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Something like that. But and then you park your boat in front of Magic Kingdom during Happily Ever After. I say park; it moves.
He has to keep.
Yeah, you don't want to. So you have to move back and forth. But you see all the other boats out there as well. So I think they had like 20 boats that night.
Something like that. There's a lot.
Yeah, and then after the fireworks, you then return to the dock right after that.
Yeah,
is how it goes there.
So like we booked this with an AP discount. So after the discount and the tax and all that stuff, it came to about a little over $40 per person, which is very reasonable, I think.
I mean, for the amount of time you're on it and the experience, it's not a bad price.
Yeah. The day before the cruise, you're going to get an email from Disney asking about any food allergies or sensitivities, any accommodations you need, like if you're in a wheelchair, like do you need help getting on the boat or whatever, and if you are celebrating anything. We did have a tree nut and peanut allergy. That is me. Plus another person needed gluten-free items. So, I just emailed back and they were able to provide those snacks for us both and we were fine. No big deal.
Yeah. You can also bring your own food and drinks, including alcohol. Just can't be in glass. So you can bring your own drinks on there.
We did. We brought some hard seltzers.
We did.
We didn't tell them we were celebrating anything, but they will add like banners and balloons to the boat for birthdays, anniversaries, and just celebrating anything, I guess. But our captain said that not engagements. Do you remember what he said about that?
What was the exact thing he said about it?
So he said that unless you're already engaged, they won't do that because people have said no.
I, for one, I second that. I hate public engagements. And as being somebody who was at a New Year's party one time, and there's a lot of people there, and someone proposed, and they said no.
Yeah.
It kills any vibe you had. Like, it's just, you become you're embarrassed as if it happened to you.
Yeah.
And like literally he proposed. They were a train wreck of a couple, by the way. He proposed and she literally went, "Can we talk about this?"
Oh,
I was like, "Oh no."
It's not good.
So yes, for one, I think this should be across the board in the parks. No public engagements.
That's never going to happen.
First off, you're one of a million people that have done this. It's not that special to do it in front of Magic Kingdom or Cinderella's castle. I just don't want to be a part of it. If I see it, I've seen it before happen. I just walk away. I don't know. And my reasoning for this, people say, "Oh, you hate love, Jared." No, I love love. I don't know if these people should be married. There's a very good chance that these people probably shouldn't be doing this. I don't know them, and if I clap, I'm publicly endorsing their engagement. That could be a massive mistake. And then on some level, it would be on me. I'd be like, well, I didn't know. And they're like, well, you cheered for it. And I'm like, well, I felt like I had to. So I agree with this entire premise here.
It makes sense. It does make sense.
Nothing would kill that boat ride, middle of that, and someone says no, and you're still on that boat for another hour on a small boat. That would be terrible.
So bad.
So awkward.
So, just taking you through our night. So we, on the day of the cruise, which was Saturday, we parked at the Contemporary because that's where the boat was coming out of. And it was at the Boat Nook Marina, I think is what it's called, on Bay Lake.
Yes. So the arrival at the marina is scheduled for an hour and 15 minutes before fireworks start. So our time was 6:45.
Because the fireworks were at 8.
Yes.
So
we got there early. We were there like 6:30.
Just in case.
Yeah. I mean, it's never bad to be early for stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so after hearing the safety spiel,
I actually didn't hear the safety spiel.
Did you not listen?
I didn't remember it.
Oh, it was just about like...
I've been on a boat. So
okay. I mean, it's just the typical stuff. Like, if you're under the age of, I think it's 12, you have to wear a life jacket.
Yes.
Stuff like,
I did hear that part.
Yeah. So like, don't like put your arm in the water or whatever. Just like stay seated, stuff like that. And it's basically, like you said, it's basically a pontoon boat, and half the people kind of sit in the front and half of them sit in the back.
Yes.
And you can't like get up and walk around while the boat's moving. You can a little bit once it's still, but you have to kind of remain. You
got to distribute the weight evenly.
Yeah. You don't want it to tip over.
I mean, I don't think it would tip over. I think it would just be, you could jostle or people would fall maybe.
I see.
But yeah.
Gotcha.
It's not like a tiny boat. It's just not a huge boat. And then the captain, again, they take you around Bay Lake, telling you about the hotels, where the boats and ferries go to dock. And then some history, like they take you around Discovery Island.
Which, do you want to tell them where that is?
Well, that's essentially the abandoned island that you used to. That was before Animal Kingdom was built, where you could go in there and check out different types of animals and things like that. So you would actually take a boat and dock there, and then go onto that island. And it has been since abandoned. So they did have flashlights you could point at, so you could see the old dock and.
Which was scary because it's so dark. It's like you can't see anything, and all of a sudden he shines a light, and I was like, I'm so scared. I don't know. It wasn't scary, but like I felt scared.
I feel like it's like Jurassic Park, where there's some sort of whatever's happening in there. Like there's a whole world of things that, like, there's a monkey, like the monkeys are running amok. Like they've set up their own government. Like I feel like there's things that have happened in there that they nobody knows about. They did say that Disney can't destroy it because it has its own like habitat
ecosystem and stuff now. Yeah, it makes sense. And it sits pretty much like kind of right in the middle of Bay Lake. So if you're at Fort Wilderness and you're looking out into Bay Lake, it's that little island right across there. Yeah. It's not that far away.
They have fenced it off and stuff because people have gone on to that island. And you can find YouTube videos of people getting on there and finding the abandoned buildings and things like that. But I mean, even in those videos, there's not much left there. It's just very abandoned.
Yep. So we got to look at that. We also got to go by the shoe tree.
That was kind of weird. So when Disney employees like retire, I guess they take them on this boat and
if they're watercraft cast members.
Oh, okay. Watercraft cast members. Yeah. They throw their white shoes up on this tree. It looks like a murder tree, if I'm being honest. Like people have been sacrificed, and this is the tree in which all their shoes. It's very like, especially at night, it was like really ominous looking.
Well, because you don't see it, and then all of a sudden there's light, and you're like, oh.
It's like hundreds of shoes just thrown up on trees. I don't feel like tradition. Surely some of them fall off though, like in hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, I have seen it before, like just taking the boat from like Fort Wilderness to Wilderness Lodge or even to Magic Kingdom, but it's been a long time. So yeah. And then we got up close with the new Poly Tower. Got some good pictures from that vantage point, which is cool. And we went around by the wedding pavilion and Seven Seas Lagoon.
Shipwreck Island.
Shipwreck Island.
Which I didn't know this. He was saying that Walt Disney himself, it's called Shipwreck Island because his boat wrecked either on or near that island. But that at one point, whenever they were scouting out the land for Disney World, he was going to build a house on there. Kind of, he's got his apartment in Disneyland. He was going to build a house on that island to be his like residence.
Which island are you talking about?
Shipwreck Island.
The one in the middle?
The one near, I think it was near Fort Wilderness or Wilderness Lodge.
Oh, Okay, so it's another. Okay,
Yeah, it's
okay,
another
I
one.
got you. Sorry, I'm in Seven Seas Lagoon now.
Oh.
I've gone past you.
Well, I was just saying, I wanted to talk about it
Sorry.
because I thought it was interesting. I didn't
That is
actually, I
interesting.
didn't actually know that, but I was like, he should.
That
I
is
would have
interesting.
built a residence there. It'd been like
Hey.
my own island.
Oh, we did learn something that I mean, maybe other people knew, but I didn't know this about the wedding pavilion.
Oh, the magnifying glass.
Yeah, so the window that you can stand in front of in the wedding pavilion that has a direct view to the castle is like is magnified. So it makes the castle look bigger if you're standing in front of it and taking pictures. I was like, oh,
Makes sense.
it's very cool. So, yeah, we got to learn about all that stuff, and he was a really nice kid. I say kid because he's probably like what 22, 23.
I think he was 23.
Yeah, he was very
Yeah.
young. Then we went up to the right in front of Magic Kingdom, where all the other boats were. Just kind of had our own little spot and kind of went back and forth for a while. But Happily Ever After started. Got to watch the fireworks from the water, and the music was pumped into the boat,
Yes.
which we already knew that.
You
but
I mean, you can see most of the projections on the castle as well, but you get obviously a really good view of the fireworks.
we could see like half of the castle, I
Yeah.
think. But we were one of the ones that were farther back. So we could see that. I think there were some boats that were farther up than us. They wouldn't be able to see anything.
No, they probably didn't see the castle at
Yeah.
all.
So we could see half of the projections, which is kind of cool. So, but yeah, it was a great way to watch the fireworks without the crowds, without the hustle and bustle. And it was like, it was quiet. There was nobody, like no one was like talking. Everybody was just watching. I was like, oh, this is the way to do it.
It's kind of nice that the fireworks would reflect off the water and stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
it was a
pretty
cool experience. Cool way to see the fireworks.
Yeah, for sure. And then so we watched that, and then we went back to the dock. And then what did you do, Jared?
Well, okay. In Happily Ever After, they play the song "Go the Distance." It's a great song, but they don't use the real version of that song, which is Michael Bolton.
Oh,
Now, probably because it's too much for most people, much like Kenny G, Michael Bolton is too much for most people to handle.
okay.
The soulful sounds of when he had long hair. I mean,
Yes.
it's a lot to take in. I understand. So I was telling people, like, it's not the best version of the song. And people were like, Michael Bolton sings that song? I was like, give me 1 second. So I hooked the Bluetooth up to my phone and played Michael Bolton's version
through the boat.
through the boat of Go the Distance.
He turned it off. He turned the Bluetooth off whenever we were heading back, and he's trying to connect to it, and he's like, "Oh, I turned it off. Let me turn it back on." I don't know if they let everybody do this.
Yeah, he said you can.
Okay.
I think.
Well, that's cool. But so yeah, what did we listen to? We listened to Go the Distance. We listened to some other song with Kenny
Well,
G.
there's another song called Missing You Now, I believe. It's Kenny G. It's Michael Bolton and Kenny G.
Okay. So
No, they only did-
double sexiness.
They only did one song together because,
Yes.
again, I think it was too much.
Right.
Whoever was in the recording booth with them at the time was
I
like,
can't handle this.
this is
much.
too much of these long-haired Adonises. I can't deal with this.
They both had long hair when they recorded that. Yes.
Kenny still does.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Michael, unfortunately, lost all his power and prowess when he cut his hair off. But
And
so
then
I did it.
we did another song.
Well, we did. Yeah. Well, Jamie wanted to hear the Michael Bolton Jack Sparrow song, which was fitting.
This is the tale.
Yeah.
Captain
He's very
Jack
much into Jack Sparrow, so it fits.
And I was like, that's Disney.
Yeah.
So,
But everyone agreed Michael Bolton's version is much better, and that should be part of Happily Ever After.
did we agree? Okay. Yeah, we agreed.
Well, I think by force, everyone agreed.
By force.
Because I was not going to take no for an answer. My
Yeah.
guess, though, is probably they didn't want to pay Michael Bolton. This is why they do a lot of times, like, the original Disney songs are sung by other people in these shows. I don't think they want to pay the copy or however much they have to pay the artist to do it, probably, be my guess. But they should just pay it because Michael Bolton's great. All right. So if you haven't heard it, go listen to it and be like, Jared, wow, you were right. And I was like, I know. Yeah, it's fine. But you're welcome. So we did that. We got back to the dock, and that was it.
That was it.
We had the leftover food and drink we took with us, and
All of it.
it was nice being parked at the Contemporary already. So we walked over to Magic Kingdom and spent a couple more hours in the park.
Yeah, because the park didn't close till 11. So we had 2 more hours to spend and ride rides. And we rode Pirates, of course, because Jack Sparrow,
It also had like a 15-minute wait.
Right. And Little Mermaid And we were going to do Haunted Mansion, but it was like a 40-minute wait. I was like, shoot, no.
The wait times weren't
times
weren't terrible on most things in there. It wasn't too bad. But yeah. It was nice. It was a nice evening. It was kind of like wasn't hot, wasn't cold. It was just very much like 65 degrees, something like that.
So we did So the girls and I, the two girls that were with us, we did the lantern, the Rapunzel lantern photo op in the bathroom area.
Mm-hmm.
And there were three of us. So I'm standing in the middle and they're standing on both sides of me and holding the lantern. And she's like, smile at the look at the camera, smile. And then she's like, look down at the lantern and, look at it and smile. And then she said, okay, look at each other. And I'm like, I am in the middle. What do I do? So I panicked and my face is like, I'll just look like I'm shocked or like in shock. I ruined the photos. So
it's actually kind of funny.
I was just like, I don't know who to look at. She didn't tell me.
In your defense, you would have to choose who to look at.
I'd have to choose, and I didn't choose.
Yeah.
I didn't choose.
That puts you in a tough spot.
I know.
Who do you look at? And then it becomes awkward. Like, why are these two looking at each other?
I made
Why
it
is this one
awkward
looking
for
over
myself.
here? It was a pretty funny picture.
It was funny. But just so you know, you might get put on the spot and not know who to look at.
Well, if you do three, most people don't do three, though. Most people just do two.
I know.
I think she was used to two people only.
Probably. And I was like, oh.
She was just like, oh, we have a three here. I don't know what to do.
I don't know. But anyway, so that was how we ended it. All right. But how'd you like? I mean, would you do this again?
Yeah. I think once you experience it once, like, I don't know. I mean, at the price point, if you're paying $40 per person, it's not a bad price. No. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was something that I think was a unique experience. So I think if you haven't done it and you want to do it, I think it would be a good time. Doing it again, I mean, yeah, but probably I'd wait a while maybe. But
I think it's good for like if you're celebrating something or somebody has a birthday or something, like that's kind of a cool way to celebrate.
Yeah, I did feel left out. We didn't have balloons.
I'm so sorry. We were the only boat that didn't have balloons.
Yeah, but the other ones had balloons, and I felt they were more festive.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Could have told him it was somebody's anniversary.
I could have. I just didn't think of it.
It's okay. But no, it was fun. I thought it was a good time. And again, if you get enough people, it's not a bad price to have at that $40 per person. What'd you think?
Yeah. So I like this one. I like this one better than the Epcot one. So I did the Epcot private fireworks cruise 3 years ago, I think. And it's similar in the way it's set up. Like, you go around the water and then you park and you watch the fireworks or whatever show. The Magic Kingdom one I feel like was better just because, I mean, Happily Ever After I think is an amazing show. So I'd much rather watch that. But yeah, this is just so fun. Now there are fairy tale fireworks cruise, like dessert cruises where it's like a dessert party on a boat.
Oh.
That's more expensive per person and it's not private. This is private. This is like you have to like bring all the people with you.
So that one's like a party boat.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like you're just gonna be paired with people you don't know.
Gross.
So that is also an option. But I did like the private one that we did. So very cool. I'd definitely do it again.
They did mention you can rent boats. I think they said it was like $50 for 30 minutes, and then every 10 minutes it's another price, but you could take them out like fishing and stuff.
Yeah, it's basically every 30 minutes is like $50.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do that, you could.
Yeah.
You drive it yourself in that case. They show you how to do it and you can drive the boat out there. So that's something you can do. And they have fishing tours as well that they do through a third party. They mentioned as well. So there is aquatic activities around Seven Seas Lagoon that you can do.
Yes, there are. Definitely. So highly recommend if you haven't done it before and want to do it or just want to do it again. I loved it.
Yes, it was a good and unique experience. Something different for sure. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for the show.
Okay.
Be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Captain Magic everywhere, even TikTok now. And if you want to catch daily videos on YouTube over at Captain Magic, we're almost at 10,000 subs over there. So go check that out. So I have daily videos over there kind of covering more, maybe the business end of the parks and things like that you can check out over there at Captain Magic. So check that out. We also have other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal show. We talk about Universal Studios, and we'll have an episode there coming out on Monday as we checked out Mardi Gras while we were at Universal. We'll talk a little about Mardi Gras and
yes.
all that going on there. And then that one eventually will become a weekly show once we get closer to Epic Universe opening. So right now it's a twice a month show. So that'll become a weekly show there soon. And then Jamie has Trip Tales, which is her trip report show.
My trip report show, yes. It'll be, let's see, the Universal show is coming out this coming Monday, and Trip Tales will be the following Monday.
Okay.
So if you want to be a guest, ctmtriptales.com, and you can fill out the information about your trip.
There you go. Jamie may or may not choose you. Who knows?
It's true.
Yeah. And be sure if you would like to contribute to the show or join a cool group, get some more content, you go join Club 32. And that's our private group, kind of like our own Patreon, where we host it on our own end. And there we have additional content. We have a weekly live stream that we do. We have Cool Kids Kitchen. We have the Clubhouse show. There's a private podcast feed that's got episodes and the content on there, plus music loops. We have a private Facebook group. You get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products year round. Meetups, all sorts of things there. So if you want to go join there, you go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options, and you can do a free trial if you want to do that. Or if you want to do a yearly, you get a free t-shirt. So you get something for free either way. But if you want to, contribute to the show, be part of a good group, it's kind of a good brain trust. If most people in that group go to the parks constantly, so you can get lots of opinions and feedback on things to do or not to do in the park. So it's a good resource in that way as well. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.